I want to give you an opportunity now to welcome the gentleman who put this together with the help of the executive board, our president, Jimmy O'Brien. Thank you, everybody. Today is the beginning of a campaign to educate the public, the governor, and these private companies that public transportation is for the public. These are our jobs, and we're not giving them up. Are you guys ready for this fight? I can't hear you. It just doesn't make sense to me that the MBTA is in debt, $7 billion to repair the infrastructure, $1 billion over budget on the Green Line. And now they want to subsidize private contractors that are doing our work? No way! So, I'm going to introduce a couple of the guest speakers today. The president kind of threw a wrench into this. There was a few other speakers here. Marty Walsh is over at the airport greeting them. Elizabeth Warren was supposed to attend. And Maura Haley, but they all seem to be running a little bit late. So I'm going to just turn this over to Stevie Tolman, president of Mass AFL-CIO.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Good morning, brothers and sisters, and happy Labor Day. We are here today, and I've been asked by several reporters what's going on here. And we are here because the legislature repealed the Taxpayer Protection Act. The Taxpayer Protection Act set up a standard that you could privatize if you saved 1 penny, but you had to have the service that was currently being utilized either better, equal or better. Now that standard in the repeal of the Pacheco law has been eliminated. And that means the public is going to suffer because all they want to do is put profits before people. Public transportation should be public. Now, brothers and sisters, what they did up at the Golden Dome may be wrong. But what we're doing here is right. It is up to us to let people know that we've seen this 30 years ago. We've seen this fake attempt to privatize when we know downright well it's all about union bucks. That's what it is. It's not about public dollars. The governor himself has said, yes, it is admitted it's going to cost more money to stop this. So let me ask you, what sense does that make? It doesn't make any sense. Well, let me say this, that organized labor is alive and well in the city of Boston under the Greater Boston Labor Council. And we're on it. We are on it to stand with a lot of elected officials that are our friends and share our ideas. And nothing in this country was ever given away to anybody. We're not asking for a given away. We're asking for justice to run the team properly. A $7 billion deficit, and they're attacking the workers who built this company. It's wrong, and we're not going to take it. So I am honored to stand with you shoulder to shoulder until this is rectified. And I applaud the leadership of all the unions here, and most importantly, the members. So God bless you and happy Labor Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. And thank you to all the members who are in attendance today, all the different unions here, all the leadership from those unions. We really appreciate it. And at this time, I would ask Senator John Keenan from Quincy to come up and just say a few words.
Thank you, Jimmy. Isn't it always great to follow the big guy, huh? Well, first of all, I want to thank you for being here, for having me here today. It truly is an honor. Just a quick story. My father was a newspaper mail at the Boston Herald for his entire life, the Record American and then the Boston Herald. I remember ITU and ultimately became the Teamsters. And all of us, his sons, used to work there. And I remember being there as a young boy And the newspapers that come off the line that go into a stacking machine, that come off the stacker and onto the conveyor belt. And one of the jobs that I had was to put a piece of paper on that bundle as it went by. And if it was a Western edition, it might have been green, a Northern edition, it might have been blue. And then they did away with the editions. So you put a plain piece of paper on that bundle as it went by. And I remember asking my father, I said, Dad, why we put a plain piece of paper there? And he said, well, it's to save a job. And he said, but what we've got to do is be smart about it. And we've got to go and make sure that if we lose that job because that paper doesn't mean a lot, that we keep a job somewhere else. Well, they're going to come in and take that job away. Well, they came in and they took that job away. So the lesson I learned from that is that you go to the table, you work hard, you put ideas out on the table, and you stand up for what you believe in. And I can tell you that over the last several months, as this whole tea crisis hit, a crisis that you had nothing to do with, but as this crisis hit, your leadership was at the State House, sitting down, rolling up their sleeves, making proposals, doing the hard work that it takes to do the right thing. And now here we are today, worried because the right thing isn't being done, not on your side, but on the other side. You know, I've heard it time and time again, we've got to privatize routes, it's the workers. How many general managers have we had over the last 5 years? If you ran a business like that, you wouldn't. You'd be bankrupt, you'd be out of business too, but somehow it's not their fault. And if you didn't invest in your business, you'd be out of business. And the investment hasn't occurred. And somehow, they say it's your fault. And the list goes on and on. So what I say is enough is enough. Let the workers do their work. If the workers do their work, the MBTA will have success. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. And at this time, I'm going to introduce a great friend of labor, great friend of the Boston Commons Union, the sponsor of the Taxpayer Protection Act, Senator Mark Pacheco.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. Are we ready? You know, it was a little over 22 years ago. There wasn't a law on the books. And over those years, preceding the adoption of the law that is now on the books, 22 years ago, people were contracting out, there were inside deals, it was all kinds of, taking care of your friends, over and over and over again. And finally, not only 589, but all the labor unions across Massachusetts rose up and they said, we're not going to take it anymore. This is not going to happen anymore. And back then, because, as Jimmy said, today is the beginning of a campaign. This is a campaign to get the truth out. To get the truth out. Not only to my colleagues in the legislature, most of which who serve today were not there back then. They weren't there to see what took place. They weren't there to see the inside deals. They weren't there to see the no-bid contracts handed out. So they need to be educated, and the general public needs to hear the truth. And let me tell you what the truth is. I've got a dad. I'm so blessed
He's 86 years young. He called me the other day. He said, Mark, you get over here. I've come across something I want to make sure you have and you keep. He was a proud member of UE Union. He worked in a factory all his life in the private sector. He worked 7 to 3, 2 weeks on, 3 to 11, 2 weeks, and 11 to 7, 2 weeks. And my mom, an office worker. That's where I come from. I come from a labor family. My father cannot just about here today. Because when he was working in the factory, they didn't have the OSHA laws that are on the books today. And they're on the books today because of labor. They're on the books today because of labor. That's the truth. That's the truth. We have an 8-hour day because of labor, and that's the truth. When somebody works overtime, they get paid overtime, and that's the truth. So, I went over and saw my dad, spent a lot of time recently together, and he pulled out this little card that I remember getting back in 1975 when I became a member of the Laborers Union. 1975. So people ask me, why is it that you got to get so involved in this issue? Why is it? It's because to sit on the sidelines, to not get involved, that allows injustice to occur. Over and over and over again. People's families get hurt. And most importantly, those families are hurt, but the taxpayers get screwed. That's what's going on. We put on the books, as Stevie Tolman said, a law with a lot of people here that you'll help. And that law simply says, before you contract out, before you hand out public work to a private entity, you make sure that the quality of the work is going to be at least the same, if not better. And you make sure that we're going to save at least 1 penny. 1 penny. That's what it got negotiated down to. And since that law was passed, there have been numerous proposals that have come forward. And believe it or not, 80% of the time, when a proposal has been filed, it's been approved. But yet, this administration and those that want to privatize, and they want to privatize everything. They want to privatize Social Security. They want to privatize our educational system. They want to privatize our transportation system. They want to take all public jobs away and hand them over to their friends, not because it's going to save money, and we got to say no to that. We've got to say no to that. We have people in this country right now that are out there in states across this nation that are connected to the people that are behind what is going on here in Massachusetts. And their agenda is a broad agenda. It's not only to privatize public work, but it's to take public and private pensions away from people. We got to say no to that. That's what their agenda is. Make no mistake about it. It's not just about privatization of the T here in Massachusetts. It's about privatization across the board. It's about the system of capitalism that I support, but with balance. We have to have a balanced system so the average worker gets a fair shot every day. Last year in Wall Street, the bonuses alone, the bonuses in Wall Street equaled double the amount of money that every single minimum wage worker in America made. That's wrong. That's wrong. We've got to fight against those types of injustices. And this issue here is a travesty. It's an injustice. And we've got to get the truth out. So I've got to tell you, please, let this really be the beginning of a major campaign. That will start here in Boston, just like another revolution many years ago in our country's history, where we will take the message from Boston and we'll go across cities and towns all across Massachusetts and educate elected officials and educate the citizenry and make sure they know that there's people out there that want to protect their money, their taxpayers' money. Because otherwise, we're going to take a ride as taxpayers. Not only will real families with real faces, husbands and wives and children who get up every day and do their job, not only they will be impacted, but the taxpayer will be impacted. Right now, Keolis, which, by the way, is a private sector company. Keolis. Take a look at their time on. You know, the number of times that they haven't made their schedule. It's amazing. That's a private sector company. Every time we read about them, we never read that. We never hear that. That's never the narrative. Nobody wants to talk about their record. Nobody wants to talk about that. Well, we're talking about it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the fact. We're going to talk about the fact that they've got the contract. They're supposed to be cleaning the stations. They're supposed to be taking care of all the extra work that is part of their contract. But no, now we're going to hire, through a bid, we're going to end up hiring additional companies to help supplement and essentially subsidize their contract. That's wrong. It's costing us more money from our pocket because they're not living up to the terms and conditions of their contract. And they're getting away with it. They're getting away with it because the citizens out there really don't know what's going on. It's up to you. It's up to me. It's up to all of us to make sure we get this message out. Are you ready to tell that message? Now you're here. You were here at 7 o'clock this morning. I think you're ready. I think you're ready. I think you're ready. And let me tell you something. When you're ready and you put your back to it and you get that message out there, the citizens are going to start demanding answers. They will. They'll start demanding answers. Because this type of action is not only going on in the public sector. There are private sector workers out there that are seeing injustice take place too. They're seeing their pensions being threatened. And those people that are behind this major scam of privatization what they're doing is they're trying to pit private sector workers and public sector workers. They're trying to pit us all against each other. Because as long as we're talking and blaming each other, nobody's focusing on all the bonuses that are going out on Wall Street. Nobody's focusing on all the other things that are wrong, right? Well, let's put the focus where it needs to be. Let's get this movement going. Let's get the information out there. When I see what's happening, what they try to do with pensions, not only here, not only at the T, but across our state, I happen to vote against those pension reforms because they were wrong. And let me tell you why they were wrong. Because men and women get up every day, they go to work. They're not getting their paycheck some other way. They get up every day and they go to work. And they're doing what they're supposed to do. And they make life choices based upon the rules that are out there. They make choices for the rest of their life. And then this other crowd, after the choices have been made, what they want to do, even when people are retired, what they want to do is change the rules then. That's wrong. It's unjust. It shouldn't be done. It should be illegal. We can't tolerate it, and we've got to say no. So listen, we're going to fight. We're going to go around the state. Please, Jimmy, let me know anything I can do. Anything I can do. Because if we don't fight, if we don't stand up, based upon the amendment they made to the Taxpayer Protection Act, or as I like to say, Pacheco Law, and say them together, because the other side likes to just use the Pacheco Law. You know why? Because it's not defined. They just say Pacheco Law. They don't want anybody to know it's a Taxpayer Protection Act. So say them together, not just one. You're going to say them together. So we start to educate people that the Pacheco Law is a Taxpayer Protection Act. That's what it is. It protects the taxpayer. I want to thank your leadership. And I want to thank all of you who've been out there fighting the good fight. You tried to do it without taking to the streets. You tried to do it. You said, we're willing to listen. As a matter of fact, I happen to know that there were dozens of proposals that were put on the table to the administration, showing them ways in which they could actually save money. How they could save money for the taxpayer and still keep public transportation public. But those of us that have been paying attention to this for a long time know that our governor and the administration was not really interested in that. Because the last time he ran for governor, right, it was part of his baker's dozen, get rid of the Pacheco Law. So that was going on back then. So it had nothing to do with the storm. It had nothing to do with this winter. It all had to do with political ideology. That's what it was all about, political ideology. And so we will say to them, beginning today, we're going to get the other side of the story out. We're going to tell people what was going on and what happened. back 22 years ago and before that, and we're going to start to show them what is happening now. Because if you stick together, if you keep doing what you're doing this morning, if we get out there all across this state in secondary media markets, all across Massachusetts, people will understand, they will know, and Billy Keating just showed up here, our congressman. He was with us. He was with us back in the Massachusetts State Senate. He voted for this law back then because he knew what was going on. We, back then, had a 2/3 vote of the Massachusetts legislature to override Governor Weld's veto at the time. 2/3. But that came after a full year campaign of this. Going out to Salem, going out to Springfield, going out to Western Mass, going out to every secondary media market and not let up. What the other side's hoping is we're going to have one Labor Day rally. Everybody's going to come out, and then you're going to go home. Well, we want to let them know. We want to let them know you're not going home. You're not going home. You're going to take public transportation, and you're going to be out there everywhere across this state, and you're going to let people know the truth. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you very much. Thanks, Mark. At this time, we have Congressman Bill Keating, great friend of the Carmen's Union, friend of Labor. As Senator Pacheco said, he's been here in the past for us, and he's here with us today. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. And I want to tell you, there's a reason they call it the Pacheco Law, because of this guy's leadership. And it's true. We worked together. We served together in the Senate. We were there. And I want to tell you, let's not forget the reason we're here besides a rally about public transportation. Let's remember we're here for Labor Day and what it means to our country. There's a reason this is a national holiday, because every major social effort in our country's history has been led by labor. We would not have Social Security if it wasn't for labor. We would not have the ability for people to retire after a lifetime of working hard to have security of a pension if it wasn't for labor. We would not have the health care that our workers have if it wasn't for labor. So this is an important day because this is what makes us different from other countries. And nationally, when we look at giving favored status to countries like Vietnam, who pay people pennies a week, we're different in this country because of labor. And let me address the issue of keeping public transportation public. I want to tell you, the GAO did a study nationally, and they were looking at security issues. And they found out that in our federal facilities, with threats of terrorism and lack of security, that when there were public employees in charge of those facilities, they were safer. That's a fact. And when you look at public transportation, we have to remember that issue. It's not just getting from point A to point B. It's making sure we're safe in this country, in this world that is so terrorized right now. So that same theme of keeping public transportation public is so important for us. And I want to tell you about your leadership. They've had tough days. I've been on the phone, and you've got tremendous leadership. And you know what? They're taking that personally. I talked to Jim, and he's had days, and he's not worried about himself. He's worried about all of you. So let's remember this on Labor Day. Labor wouldn't be what it is without the great labor leaders we have, and you've got a great one leading you, and I want to thank him for what he's doing. And I want to thank all of you for being here. This is what makes our country great. This is what will continue to make our country great. So thank you for everything you're doing. You are the center core of our country.
Is Jimmy Evans, do we have the governor? He wants to say a few words? Jim? Why don't you see if the governor wants to say a few words to us?
I do not want to clear here.
Hold on.
We want
Listen
to
up.
fix the T. I do not want to privatize the T. I do not want to slash services. I do not want to lay off hundreds of T employees. I do not want to privatize the T. I do not want to. We want to. I do not.
Thank you, Jimmy. I know a few of the executive board members want to say a few words, so I'm going to turn it over to Larry Kelly. Thank you, everybody. Public transit, not private greed. 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 Let's tell the story now. Let's see if we can tell this story that everybody should be listening to.
Union strong!
No private greed. We don't need it.
Labor Day. We're here on Labor Day, a day to celebrate the American worker. How ironic that we are here today, not celebrating, but fighting to protect our work and our jobs. Held hostage by the specter of 9 feet of snow and the memory of that being used to validate a privatization push against us. We were there and always have been. Every storm, every flood, even during a terrorist attack on this city and the hunt for them, we came to work. When others are told to stay home, we came to work. When the city shuts down, we come to work. When the streets are closed to automobiles, we walk to work. We come to work during these emergencies, and we don't know when we'll be allowed to leave. We dig out our homes and our cars, we leave our families, and we come to work. We didn't stop the service, we were at work. Ready and willing to perform our duties. Management made that decision. Bad choices, poor decisions that impacted communities in the city of Boston. Where are they now? The GM, Beverly Scott, gone. Chief Operating Officer, John McCarthy, gone. Wasn't us, never was us, never will be. They attacked us regarding days off, using protected absences, and that was proven wrong. They blame us for drop trips, but make no mention of how dramatically understaffed the transportation department is. They want to hold us responsible for service interruptions during this past winter's unprecedented snow, but what doesn't get mentioned is that we were here doing our work. Operating our pieces of equipment, shoveling out tracks under difficult and at times unsafe conditions. Now they want to privatize or outsource some of our work. Some of the very same bus routes that you were driving during the snowstorms. You did your job. They want to include low ridership routes. Ask yourself this, why hasn't the T had the foresight to purchase smaller buses to run these routes? Or better yet, why haven't they reconfigured the routes to increase ridership? Why are routes still being run by the Quincy shipyard when it's been closed for years? Why are we running routes along the Quincy Hospital when it's been closed? Recently, the Mass GOP, the Republicans, have called into question the Boston Carmen's Union's claim that we are here to help. We want to help. Well, we were here to help and work during the storms of this past winter, and management told us not to. We came to work every day ready to help, even under extreme circumstances where we were attacked both physically and verbally, including being spat upon. We are there helping, volunteering to drive buses for the grieving families and co-workers of the fallen police officers and firefighters of our state. To those people that want to call into question our abilities, don't question our wanting to help. Don't question our work ethic. Don't question our dedication. Walk, or better yet, drive a mile in our shoes, then get back to us. Why is the solution to privatize when there is overwhelming evidence to suggest that privatizing does not work? The commuter rail is privatized, and that has more failures than we can count, including this past winter's debacle. The government center station build has had cost overruns and just recently revealed that all the glass windows installed need to be removed. Another privatization nightmare. All this after our governor has made the claims, both privately and publicly, that he does not want to privatize, lay off, or cut service. I'm sorry, Mr. Baker, I don't believe you. Where's the money to fix the T? Where's the money? Where's the money for the backlog of infrastructure repair? Governor Baker, listen to us. Invest in the T. Address the real needs and stop this plan to privatize. Let us do our work and continue to move the people of Boston to and from work, school, and play, just like we have for the past 100 years. Thank you, Larry. I'm going to turn this over to Jim Evans. He wants to say a few words.
I know that's a tough act to follow. I apologize. I wasn't planning on speaking today, but you know what? These are our jobs. Brothers and sisters, these are scary and sad times when greed and profit are more important than allowing hard-working men and women the right to decent wages and benefits. These disgusting trends of stealing from us, the people who move this country, build this country, teach this country, heal this country, protect this country, clean, feed, and serve this country, deserve more than this. These same issues and mistreatments is what started the labor movement back in the 19th century. This country is moving backwards, brothers and sisters, and it needs to stop now. They have attacked labor piece by piece, state by state, to finally make their way here, not only to the MBTA, but to the first-class blue-collar state of Massachusetts. Charlie started this war against labor when he made up lies about us, the hard-working men and women of the Carmen's Union. I am a proud member of the Carmen's Union, and I will not sit quietly and allow anyone, not even you, Governor, I gotta watch my language, to spread false accusations about this membership. Shame on you. Who's gonna stand? Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Who's gonna stand with us to fight for our jobs? Who's gonna stand and fight for our jobs? We will attack those who attack us. Brothers and sisters, stand together in your solidarity. Fight has just begun.
Sounds like we're ready, huh? Are you ready? It's going to be a long campaign, but I know everybody's ready. I can't hear you. Can't hear you. Great, awesome. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for all the members, the hard work that goes into this, all of the other labor unions, family, friends. It's going to be a huge campaign, a big battle, but we're ready. We're ready. Thank you, everyone.